I like calling my parents my roommates because I think it's funny. Sorry. But they actually really are my roommates at this point. We do roommate stuff together. We watch TV sometimes. We make plans to go to dinner. I see them almost never. They go and have trips without me. I go and have trips without them. I eat their food. Like, I'm doing roommate stuff all the time. Oh my God, your roommates are your parents? Yeah. Yeah, I moved back after I had a pretty weird situation happen at my old apartment building. If anybody remembers, there was like, I actually called the police, which I've never done before. That was exciting. And there was like drugs in the stairs. It was homeless people that were like doing drugs in the stairs and yelling and basically fighting. And the building still wouldn't have like a security guard. I then talked to other people. I did my little gossip snooping around with my neighbors that they were stealing clothes from the washing machine downstairs. And one thing that the building had said, they were like, please don't open the door for the homeless folks outside. But okay, it's 2 a.m. I go downstairs to get my Uber Eats. I open the door and it's winter. There's a man outside with a bike and a coat on. What am I going to say? Hey, are you a homeless man or do you live in this building? No, that's not my job and responsibility. You know what he's going to do? He's going to punch me in the throat. No. If we had a security guard in the building, that would be his job and responsibility. So yeah, I go downstairs. I open my. Actually, I don't think did I tell you all in the end why I ended up moving out? Yeah, my last apartment. So one of the final nails on the coffin of me moving out was I had asked for like security. A bunch of us had asked for security guards, for everything, for all that stuff. And it wasn't getting done. And then winter was coming, you know, so because of that, usually a lot more homeless people are going into buildings. Again, nothing against the homeless people. Like, I get it. If I was homeless, I too would try to come into a building to get some warmth. I completely get it. Let's be clear. In the end, what had happened was it had been several. So one time it happened on stream when I called the cops, but there had been several other times in the stairs where there was a lot of loud noises on other floors. And I'm guessing other tenants called the cops or anything happened. But this was a reoccurring issue that maybe several times in a week that there would be a lot of homeless folk doing drugs or whatever, or like, you know, kind of like hiding out in the stairs if you ever went to take the stairs instead of the elevator. One time, it was 2 a.m. and I went downstairs to get my Uber Eats. And there was a man with a bike and a woman with him. And, you know, I opened the door to get my Uber Eats. They walk in. To be clear, I can't instantly tell that they're homeless because they're wearing like jacket and stuff like that. But I think as we're waiting for the elevator, I kind of like, I don't remember how, but I kind of like by looking at them, I kind of was like, oh, I think they're homeless people that are like coming in for the night. Weren't people making deals too? Probably, but I don't know. Because they had a bike, we had less room in the elevator. So I was like, you guys go ahead. I'll go, you know, like after you guys. And as they're going into the elevator, I notice that it stops at my floor. And to be clear, without going into details, my floor had 5 apartments on it. So I knew everybody on my floor, but they could be visiting, right? I knew everybody on my floor. I know the guy to the right, him and his wife were almost never around. To my left, I had 2 guys living together. To their left was the girl I went to the gym with. To her left was an older man. Like, I know everybody who lived on my floor. So I do see the elevator stop at my floor and I'm like, okay, whatever. I get on the I still am not like fully thinking about it. After I get out of the elevator, so to be clear, my apartment was immediately, so the elevator opens. If you go to the right, it's the apartments, right? So there's one door, then my door, and then 3 other doors, right? The stairs were to the left. As I get out of the elevator, I see, because it was snowing outside and he had a bicycle, I see the bicycle tracks that are wet and there's shoes that go to the left. There's no apartment in the left. There's only the stairs. Later that night, or sorry, next day in the morning, that whatever, right? Like, ooh, spooky, they went to the left and they're in the stairs, whatever. Like, I genuinely at that point did not care. I was like, it's cold, go do your stuff. What actually happened that kind of proceeded into me moving out was the next morning, the girl that I would go to the gym with, she texted me and she was like, did you hear the screaming last night? And I said, no, what happened? And she goes, around 5 a.m., she heard screaming and punching. She called the cops on basically what I'm getting, like those exact two people that went into the stair. Like, who else was in our stairway at that time, right? So that happened, which, you know, it is scary, but also at the same time, like, it's also scary to cross the street. Like, I don't like to live my life being like, oh, it's scary that happened. Because at the same time, like, if I cross the street and get run over by a car, that's scary. If I walk at night and there's some person with a gun, that's scary. Like, at the end of the day, everything in life is scary. So just that situation alone isn't that scary. What ended up kind of developing that situation for me was when my neighbor told me that. Yeah, it can happen everywhere, by the way. Like, that's... So what kind of ended up happening was after I told this to my flesh mother kind of put it in my head and she was like, hey, they saw what you look like and they probably think you called the cops on them. Which I was like, I don't think so. But at the same time, that could be a possibility. I had to go to a government thing. I had to wait in line and I had to go and ask them questions. And I showed them all the photos and I asked all the questions and I was like, hey, so realistically, what happens? And they said that basically if I moved out and they decided to sue me, that I could then in court, like, show all the photos and show everything and have no problem moving out. So in the end, the way that it got solved, I guess, was I had emailed the building. I had emailed the building with a lot of complaints and so did other tenants and I knew. And then I basically just kept showing them photos and kept, I was like, I just want a security guard downstairs. That's all I want. I just want a security guard downstairs. That's it. And many other people asked for that. And then when they wouldn't do it, I basically said that by the law that I went to this place and found out the law, that I will be moving out as of this date, which was, I think, like 6 months before my lease was up. They told me I couldn't do it. And I said, well, if you believe so, then you can take me to court. And I will show them all these photos that I've shown you, all this information that I've shown you. And in the end, they ended up messaging me to get me, at one point, I think, to pay 1 extra month of rent. And my flesh mother was like, no, don't do it. Don't pay the 1 extra month. So basically, I didn't pay, I think, like 8. I think my lease was from August 1st and I moved out before January 1st. I would have had to pay 8 months of rent or like 7 months of rent, right? And they, in the end, asked me to just pay 1 extra month in January. And initially, my flesh mother's like, don't do it. Don't do it. Let them take it. I was like, okay, whoa. Calm down. And I even asked her, I was like, do you have time to go to court for me? Do you have time to go to court I'm like, I will accept just paying the 1 month of rent on top of this to be rid of this situation, to never have to worry about it again. And that same month where they sent me like the thing of, oh, we're going to take you to court if you don't agree to just pay 1 month of rent. My girl that I used to go to the gym with texted me that she found a mouse in her apartment. And the way that mouses work, by the way, if anybody doesn't know, if there is one mouse in her apartment, there's a million mouses everywhere in that apartment building. So, I'm sorry, there's a million mouses in that apartment building. But yeah, so to be clear with the court stuff, I basically told my flesh mother, like, look, I know to you, like, that 1 month of rent, it for you have the time to go to court and wait. For me, like, you have to understand, I would have had to take time off of stream to go to either Montreal or Ottawa, no, not Ottawa. I think it was either Montreal or like Hull. I forget. But I had to go to like a bigger city in Quebec, wait in line, go to court, like take time off of stream for what? I'll just pay the 1 month of rent. Instead of paying 7 months, I paid 1 extra month. I'm good. I got rid of this. I'm out. I have all the pictures. I'm safe.